Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmates. This is the group 1. Today we will tackle about the Sumerian civilization. So, Mesopotamian science and technology developed during the Europe period, 4100 to 2900 BCE, and early dynastic period 2900 to 1750 BCE of the Sumerian culture of the southern Mesopotamia. The foundation of future Mesopotamian advances in scientific, technological progress was laid by the Sumerians who first explored the practice of the scientific hypothesis, engaged in technological innovation, and created the written word, developed mathematics, astronomy, and astrology, and even fashioned the concept of time itself. So Sumerians, their name comes from the region which is frequently and incorrectly referred to as a country. Sumer was never a cohesive political entity, however, but a region of city-states, each with its own king. So Sumerians are considered as the creators of civilization as modern humans understand it. First is explore the practice of the scientific hypothesis. So what is the scientific hypothesis? So scientific hypothesis is an idea that proposes a tentative explanation about phenomena observed in the nature world. A hypothesis is an assumption, an idea that is proposed for the sake of argument so that it can be tested to see it might be true. So it can also make an observation, forming a hypothesis, making a prediction, conducting an experiment, and finally, it is analyzing the results. So like for example, professionals typically write hypotheses as if ordained statements such as someone eats a lot of candies or sugar, then they will develop cavities on their teeth. So these statements identify specific variables. So kani nga example is gina-identify niya ang specific nga variable ug naga-propose pod siya og result. So sa example nga ako ang ginaingon nga sa pagkaon pa lang og candy ug sa sugar is ang result ana is naga-develop siya og cavities, which is ang kaning scientific hypothesis is naga-observe pod siya sa nature world ug naga-conduct pod siya experiment o naga-analyze siya sa result aning gi-eksperimentuhan pareha sa ato ang gi-example kaganiha about eating the sweet foods or what kind of foods nga kanang mga sweet. That's why naga-develop siya og cavities. Mao na ang first nga na gihimo sa Sumerian civilization nga nag-explore sila o practice sa scientific hypothesis. Next is engage in technological innovation.
Technological innovation. So what is technological innovation? Technological innovation is an extended concept of innovation, while innovation is a rather well-defined concept. It has a word meaning to many people and especially numerous understanding in the academic and business world. Innovation refers to adding extra step to developing new service and product in the marketplace or in the public that were not in the needs or sold.
So one of the great contribution of the Sumerians made to civilization was their many inventions. So daghan silang mga gipang imbento sa panahon sa Europe period. So they invented first the form of writing. So una nila gi-imbento is ang writing a number system, and the first wheeled vehicles, sun-dried bricks, and irrigation for farming. So ang mo na una nila nga gipang buhat labi na sa irrigation for farming, sa mga magsasaka. And then all of these things were important for the development of human civilization. Sa panahon sa Sumerian civilization, kaning mga gipang imbento nila is very important jud sa ilaha, which is mo na nabuo nila panahon sa Europe period. So next is created the earliest written language.
Created the earliest writing language is Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia was a region comprising many cultures over time speaking different languages. The earliest known writing was invented there around 3400 BC or before Christ in an area called Sumer near the Persian Gulf. Who created the first written language? Scholars generally agree that the earliest from a written appeared almost 5,500 years ago in Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq. Early practical signs were gradually substituted by a complex system of characters representing the sound of Sumerian, the language of Sumer in the southern Mesopotamia, and other languages. What was the earliest written language in Mesopotamia? Sumerian. The first language Dido write is Sumerian, with possible exception in the late first millennium BC or before Christ. The from script only writes syllables a, ba, al, bal. Sumerian language. Language is insolate and the oldest written language in existence. First attested about 3100 BC or before Christ in southern Mesopotamia. It flourished during the 3rd millennium BC.
Next is develop mathematics, astronomy, and astrology.
Develop mathematics, astronomy, and astrology. Astrology and astronomy. In Latin word astrologia. Artically treated together but gradually distinguished through the late Middle Ages into the Age of Reason. Developments in 7th century philosophy resulted in astrology and astronomy operating as independent pursuits by 18th century. The academic discipline of astronomy studies observable phenomena beyond the Earth's atmosphere. The pseudoscience of astrology uses the apparent position of celestial objects of the basis for divination. Early science, particularly geometry and astronomy, and astrology, astromenia, was connected to the divine for the most medieval scholar. The compass in this 13th century manuscript is a symbol of God's act of creation, as many believe that there was something intrinsically divine or perfect that could be found in circles.
Sumerian also have a fashion the concept of time.
Function the concept of time. The Sumerians were responsible for many of the most important innovations, inventions, and concepts taken for granted in the present day. They essentially invented time by dividing day and night into 12-hour periods. Na siya 12 hours sa gabi, napod siya 12 hours sa adlaw. Napod siya 60 minutes sa 1 hour, napod siya 60 seconds sa 1 minute. Thank you.
So these are some of the most important inventions of the Sumerians were the wheel and the sail. So ang isa nga importante gyud sa giimbento aning Sumerian sa panahon sa Sumerian civilization is ang wheel o ang kaning sailboat. The wheel that made by the Sumerian civilization is strong and durable. So dako pud kay siya tabang kaning wheel nga gibuhat aning Sumerian civilization. So transporting goods from one location to another symmetrical component moving in a circular motion on axis. It allowed them to travel and trade in different places. It also allowed them to carry heavier loads from place to place. So bisan pagdagko nga mga kargada is madala ani nga ligid, no. Ang first pod nga nag-imbento sa wheel is ang mga ancient Mesopotamian people. The sailboat that made by the ancient Mesopotamian people. So the sails were made of linen or papyrus and were shaped like a large rectangle or a square. These simple boats could carry people and goods upstream and downstream and could be used to navigate difficult waterways or inclement weather. So bisag lisod nga mga panahon na like for example is na ay bagyo, magamit jud ning sailboat nga gibuhat sa Sumerian civilization. Ingana sila ka bright mo imbento og mga gamit nga importante. The other inventions by the Sumerian civilization is irrigation and dikes.
Irrigation and dikes. Irrigation, the system that distribute water canal, artificial, man-made channels of water, besides lower level of land. Dikes, the natural of artificial slope to prevent flooding, to relatively closely create canal. Kining irrigation isa siya sa system na distribute og tubig padulong sa kanal. Ug kining dikes, natural or artificial slope mag-prevent flooding og duha ka relative og close leaves sa magbuhat og kanal.
And the last is farming implements.
My name is Kennedy M. Olita. My topic is the farming implements. According of what I've researched, the farming implements in Sumerian civilization is the Sumerians were able to settle and prosper because they learned how to irrigate the land by bringing water to the fields. They turned Mesopotamia in a prime agricultural region. The Sumerians grow several kind of crops. The most valuable one was barley, which was used to make flour and bread. Ang mga magsasaka ng Mesopotamia ay mapag-imbento. The farmers of Mesopotamia were invented. They made bronze hand tools like hammers, sickles, axe, and hoes. Mesopotamians were probably the first to use the wheel. By 3000 BCE, they had invented the plow and the plow seeder. Thank you.
Quem mandou se apaixonar pelo hábito de jeito empinou ele pei. Ficou de quatro e ele pei.